When everyone does it, will you still stand? Bible says in the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. There comes a moment in a generation when the question is not whether you know God, but whether you will stand for God when standing becomes unpopular. It is easy to stand when everyone is standing. It is easy to worship when everyone is worshiping. It is easy to be a Christian when Christianity costs you nothing. But the true test of conviction comes when the crowd moves in one direction and God calls you in the opposite direction. Campus is a place where everyone is given freedom. Everyone has a choice. Everyone says, do whatever makes you happy. But child of God, your life was not purchased by Christ so that you can simply follow the desires of the world. You were called to be different. The question is not what is everyone doing. The question is, what does God say? Daniel was taken to Babylon, a place filled with different culture, different values, a place filled with a lot of pressure. Nobody would have blamed Daniel if he compromised. He was young. He was far from home. Nobody was watching him. Daniel had a reason to compromise, but he chose not to compromise. Daniel chapter 1 verse 8 says, but Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine. He made a decision in his heart, I will not defile myself. Your greatest battles will not always happen in public. Some of your greatest battles will happen in secret. When no one is watching, when nobody will know, when everyone says it is normal. But heaven is watching. When everyone chooses pleasure, will you choose purity? When everyone chooses to compromise, will you choose conviction? When everyone bows to the idols of this generation, when everyone is taken by the idols, the desires of this generation, will you remain standing? Remember this: a crowd can make something popular, but it cannot make something right. Noah, in the Bible, he stood when the whole world was corrupt. Joseph stood when temptation came privately. Daniel stood when pressure came publicly. Meshach, Shadrach, Abednego. These boys stood when everyone was commanded to bow. God is not looking for a generation that follows the crowd. God is looking for a generation that carries his presence. The world does not need another believer who looks exactly like everyone else. The world needs sons and daughters who can say, even if nobody stands with me, I will stand. Even if I lose my friends, I will stand. Even if I am misunderstood, I will stand for Jesus, because I would rather stand alone with God than stand with the world against God. When everyone does it, will you still stand?